attorney.
Okay, welcome back to I guess my thoughts and theories video. I compiled here a little list, I guess, just going over who could have done what, um how people could have committed the murders, or where they possibly were. Could they have done it in person, or what needed to be done? Mainly there are things like possible to murder in person, uh, or possible to murder because we don't know where they are, impossible because they are dead, or possible if they faked their death. And then there are stuff like possible to murder with traps set up in advance. Um, yeah, those are the main things. Uh, this is the list here. Quick. I guess I'm just gonna slowly scroll through it, and you guys can pause. I'll talk about each one briefly. This is the list of all the 18 people. At the very end here, we only have green. Okay, there we have it. There's the list. So basically, Kinzo, you know, we didn't really know what he was doing for the majority of time, so it's really possible that he could have committed all the murders, although he seemingly died in the boiler room. But he could have faked his death and found a body with the same extra toe thing going on. It was mentioned that he was identified supposedly by Genji because of the extra toe, but it was also mentioned that it's not too rare of an disease, or I don't know what you would call it. Like 1 in every 2,000 people do have extra toes or something like that. So like it's not impossible to find a fake body, but less likely for him than the others. So yeah, most likely, if it's harder for him to fake his own death. Yeah. But otherwise, if he can fake his own death, it's possible for him to commit all the murders because, we don't know where he is. He can just waltz in anywhere. And this is true. This is true with everyone else. If even if they have this red outline here, it's very much possible that they are still the culprit because, it's as simple as faking your own death and placing a fake body there. Especially since the first 6, all of their faces were kind of mangled. So like, I don't know. Yeah, Kraus, first one to die, or one to die in the first group. Possible to murder in person, but needed to either fake his own death or kill himself at the end. And if he kills himself at the end there, with the other 6 or other 5, he would need other accomplices or other parties to have their own murders going on in order to explain all the rest of the murders. Like, yeah, it's very likely. I have come to the conclusion that it's very likely that it's not just a single murderer. Like, there's only a couple people who could have done it. Otherwise, it's just impossible for Kraus, or possible if he faked his own death, For Natsuhi, well, here's immediately a person who actually could have done it. She was present in everywhere, and she only died at the very end. So like, possible to murder in person in storage because everyone was asleep, so no one has an alibi. Kinzo's study, possible to lure Kinzo out, but not in person because she was with the others. From the very I was gonna say that she was with the others at the very beginning, from the very beginning, since they found the corpses in the storage. But like, she could have still lured Kinzo out earlier before that. Not sure. Probably not though. And yeah, just then most of her murders would have only been possible with traps set up in advance. in front of the portrait, she could have obviously killed herself, or not, because the last thing here, the last survivors, the 4 kids, it would be impossible for her to kill them because she's dead, or if she faked her death, I don't know how she would have had the time, then she obviously could have killed them, but it's also very possible that none of the kids were killed. They just went missing because none of them were ever found, you know? It was mentioned in the end credits, although one thing was found, but not a full body. Ava, about 50-50. She could have done some of them, but then would have needed to fake her own death or you know, I don't know, kill herself and then have other accomplices to continue on the murders. But there's also the possibility that she could have pre-set traps everywhere, and those triggered even posthumously, even after her death. So, yeah, I could add to end at the very end here, like or placed traps in advance, which triggered after her death. I could add this to everyone who are possible to be the murderers if they fake their own death, or even if they die, you know. But, you know, let's leave it like that. Hideyoshi, same thing as Ava. Then Rudolph, Kirie, Rosa, same thing as the others in the storage. Nanjo is somewhat interesting of a case. I don't have anything special written for him. Well, I guess I kind of do. Here's an idea. Like Ava and Hideyoshi's room, it's possible to murder with traps set up in advance. It is impossible for him to kill in person because he was in the kitchen with Kumasawa, Kanon, and Genji. But it could be possible for him to murder in person if everyone in the kitchen was in on it, or are a part of the murders, or Nanjo somehow threatened or convinced them to let him go and not snitch on him being out of there. This is also true with Genji and Kanon and Kumasawa. This could apply to them as well. Parlor, possible to murder in person, but needed to fake his own death or kill himself at the end, and would need accomplices for the last kill or possible kills with the 4 kids. Or, I added this very late here, but this is also very possible. Let me just add that like that. It's also very possible that, whoa, why is it doing that? That everyone else went mad. You know, this could apply not just to the very end, but this could apply to every situation. It's always possible that people just went mad and killed themselves and there is no murder. Like, but yeah, considering the amount of tragedy that had gone on, I suspect that if anyone were to go mad, it would be at the very end with Natsuhi possibly killing herself in front of the portrait, and then the last survivors, the kids, also just bowing down and giving in to the supposed Beatrice. You know? That is a possibility to have happened. Okay, Genji is an interesting case because he's the only person who is alive and also would be able to murder Ava and Hideyoshi in person, because he was the only person alone for a brief moment when he left the kitchen to go inform the others in the parlor about food. He had time. No one knew where he was for that brief period. He could have done it. So we have here one murder that could have been done in person, which otherwise no one else could have done. That is very interesting. This very much lends credence to the idea that there are not one murderer, but multiple murderers. But those multiple murderers are not in cahoots, but they have their own agendas and they kill for their own causes or reasons. And Genji could have been, this could have been Genji's only kill, because he's the only one who could have done this solo. And then, for example, I don't know, Nanjo could have done the storage kills in person, and someone else could have done these kills in person. And I don't know, one of the kids could have done these kills in person. Here. Kumasawa could have done the boiler room, yeah. Where is Kumasawa? Yeah, Kumasawa is the only one who could have done the murder in person. Well, Kumasawa and both Kanon too. Both Kanon and Kumasawa are the only ones who could have done the boiler room murder, or attack, I guess. Kanon died later, but, you know, was wounded there. Kumasawa is the most likely solo culprit there, but again, this is another idea of separate killers who are not in cahoots. Yeah. In Parlor, if we discount the idea that people need to fake their own deaths or kill themselves, it was obviously just Maria there who could have murdered everyone in person. Yeah. Goda is I don't know what to think of Goda or Shannon. They seem like the least likely. Well, everyone in the storage 6 seems least likely to be the full murderers. But like, something about Goda and Shannon strike odd to my eyes. I don't know what it is exactly. But I feel like, even though I have no evidence, no leads, and most of their possibilities require for them to fake their own deaths, somehow I'm still kind of like keeping my eye on them, like feeling like they could be actual murderers. Yeah. And then with the 4 kids, everyone was alive until the very end, so every one of them could have done all the murders. Some of them in person, but most just with traps set up in advance. Interesting note here is that the last survivors, the final 4, possible to murder in person, could have murdered the other kids in person, but no one needed to die. They all could have just disappeared because nobody was found for any of them. There was no need for this to be a murder. But with Maria, part of her jaw was found, so she either needed to kill herself or fake her own death somehow. Maybe by actually ripping her jaw off, because police found that, according to the end credits. Cool. I think that wraps up mostly the who could have done what and when and where and how. Obviously, if you want to read all of them, there's not too much variation between them, but you know, you can always pause and read them. Yeah, so basically, solo culprit, possible murderers without faking own death are only the kids plus Natsuhi. And with faking their own death, or setting up traps in advance prior to their own death for later murders, literally everyone. And group culprits, literally everyone. And if there are multiple culprits, but they are not part of a group, then Maria could have done Parlor, Kumasawa could have done Boiler Room, Genji could have done Eva and Hideyoshi's room. Interestingly, yeah, one thing, Maria was the only one who could have lured out Kinzo in person. Everyone else was at the storage house looking at the murders. She was the only one inside. She was watching the TV. She didn't want to go. So she could have gone and done that in person. And with storage, it's literally everyone could have done it. Yeah. So, like, we do have a strong possibility of multiple murderers doing their separate own things, and it's just lining up, like, looking like a single murderer or a big mystery. And this is all just assuming we could have done it normally without the use of magic. It's 99% like sure that it's, Beatrice and magic, and we really don't know how. It's just magic for now. Some unknown force. But yeah, if we would have to place some ideas on like actual, tangible, real life murders, I mean, there are several ways, but these are the ones that I quickly came up with. Storage, literally just surprise and stab everyone with the demon ice picks and throw everyone in storage and mangle their faces with any power tool or like a sledgehammer, and then throw the weapon away into ocean or something. I don't know. You had a lot of time. It was the night, and no one has alibi. Kinzo study. Only Maria could have. Only Maria or people who faked their deaths could have made Kinzo come out of his own accord, or somehow climbed in through the window, or come in through a hidden entrance, or somehow threatened Kinzo to leave the room. Eva and Hideshi's room, again, only Genji, who has the keys, or people who faked their deaths, could have just opened the door or murdered them in person. Interestingly enough, here's an idea that I came up with after doing, a little amount of research. People could have set up remote-controlled devices and controlled the device through a camera that was wirelessly connected to a screen somewhere else. Yes, this technology existed in 1986. It was very bulky and very expensive, but with enough money and modifications, it is possible to make this happen. And, everyone in this game is like filthy rich, so they would have had the resources. Even if they were in debt, they still had money. So, it is possible to set up an actual device or some kind of version of some murderous RC car thing going on. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just Genji could have waltzed in, or people who fake their deaths. I don't really think there could be any other real life idea that I could quickly come up with for the Eva Hideyoshi room, locked room mystery. Like, since we literally only have one person who could have done it in person, and he has the keys to everywhere, that it's as simple as that. But Genji could not have done all the other murders, so, or maybe he could have, I don't know, kind of depends. But yeah, with the others who were alive but didn't have time to go there in person, the only option is traps or some devices, and this is the only reasonable thing I could have thought of. Like, sure, you can always say, they just set up a trap and that's it. But, what trap? How? Like, how do you get traps to specifically pinpoint people's foreheads? You don't. You literally don't, and they were in separate rooms, in separate positions, in separate angles. The only way to do that is to somehow have vision on them. And having vision on them without being there in person, it really requires a screen of some sort to see them, So I think this is a reasonable idea. In that sense, it's very elaborate still, but like, I feel logically sound, It requires some kind of fiddling and time to set up prior, but, it's still doable. Boiler room, only Kumasawa or Kanon, I guess, if he killed himself, or people who faked their deaths could have done it. Or, once again, use the remote-controlled device is another option for every other death, You can explain every death with this idea here. Parlor, people who could have done it in person are Genji, Kumasawa, Nanjo, Maria, or people who faked their deaths. And yeah, here I just said the same thing again. And portrait, people who faked their deaths could only have been the culprits there. All the kids were in the parlor, still shocked. or kinda rushing after Natsuhi, or Natsuhi could have just committed the suicide, or one of the kids could have used a remote controlled device. And the last survivors, the kids, any one of them could have murdered all of them in person, or no one died, or people who faked their deaths obviously could have still murdered all the kids. But, there's no need for these people to die. We really don't know. Yeah, I think that's my spiel about who done it, how and why, and if possible. Okay, I'm gonna do a cut here, and then I'm gonna talk about some other small theories when I gather my thoughts. It's gonna take a while. I'm gonna kind of doing this on the fly. See you in a bit. Okay, here we are. I guess this is the part where I talk about theories or ideas that have intrigued me about the game so far. And, full on disclaimer, from now on, I think it's better if I just, I might give some warnings, but I think it's better if I just include my thoughts about Higurashi, because while it's not technically connected, it's, still a game that was released previously. And there might be, some overall stuff that might lead me to think in some directions. And I think it's better, for the sake of, genuine reactions, if I can just openly be like, oh, when something from Higurashi is brought up, instead of just like try to stifle my excitement, So I'll still try to avoid the major spoilers, but be warned that there will be Higurashi stuff talked going forward. It's just the way it's gonna be. I can't avoid it. Okay, let's get into thoughts. I'm just gonna quickly go over them, including there will be Higurashi stuff here too. First, we have alchemy. Then we have black magic. Then belief/miracles. This was mostly stuff that Kinzo talked about. Hidden rooms. Faking deaths. Taking secrets to grave. Devotion. Missing rose. The riddle itself and the letters from Beatrice. Then culprit or culprits. Then we had headaches and asthma. And I guess we could add Kinzo's sixth toe if we really want to. We have unreliable narrator, threatening others possibly. And then we have other people who are like, And then we have important people. Beatrice, Berncastle Frederica, Lambda Delta, and this is a name from Higurashi Sotsu, or Go. I don't know. This is an interesting character. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a bit about some of the things I feel like saying anything about. It's not gonna be too much, but alchemy. So first I have here transmute something to gold, maybe transmute something to something else to open the door to Golden Land, or is the Golden Land where the gold even is? We don't know. Maybe combine elements or items together to create something, and the key question mark is an idea. The key to open the door to the Golden Land. And then Philosopher's Stone obviously is just a general item you can often see in alchemy related things. Yeah, alchemy was kind of brought up, and Beatrice's official title is The Alchemist. The game going forward will most likely have magic in it, but if not, we can just explain things away with alchemy or chemistry. But alchemy and chemistry are kind of the same thing. That's just alchemy is the older version with more natural stuff and less sciencey stuff. We can possibly explain some of the upcoming magical seeming stuff away with alchemy if we really want to push forward the idea that witches actually don't exist, magic doesn't exist. you know? And I feel like alchemy, some parts of these, maybe not Philosopher's Stone, will be a big part of solving the riddle itself later on. I really don't know. I say transmute something to gold because I think in one of the videos I talked about that. What if we just what if part of the mansion is just the gold itself and it just has a cute little wallpaper on top of it masking it or something, you know? Or even crazily, what if the servants who are called, who are called not tools, they're called, what are they called? Genji and Kanananshan and Kumasawa and Goda. What are they called again? Some kinds of tools they were called, and they could be transmuted, or they could be homunculi, or they could be made of gold and transformed into quote unquote human beings. Furniture, that was the word, furniture, yeah. Black magic, yeah. There was a decent amount of, attempts at explaining black magic. We know there are magic circles and the writing is in Hebrew. We know there are spells that at least Beatrice can cast. We know there are charms that Maria carries around. Scorpion is an animal that can protect from spells or charms. And we know there are ice picks named after demons. Yeah, other than that, I really don't know where we are taking the whole magic system, how in depth it's gonna be. We had some talk about it in the, or some mention about magic and possible powers in the Witches Tea Party section, in the question mark part. And like, the powers they talked about there were like, okay, here we have cute magic circles and charms, a scorpion that can prevent possible cute spells from applying. But no, in the Witches Tea Party we talked about like let me just move that away. Altering fate, crossing, fragments, which we will talk about soon. Being able to revive infinitely, that kind of stuff. So like the the power scaling is off the charts immediately with the actual witch powers. Yeah. Belief and miracles. This I don't have too much to say about. I just still am hanging on to the idea that was mentioned earlier on. I think it was just before the storage reveal, or maybe somewhere around there. Kinzo talked about miracles and how they're not actual magic, but like if you believe hard enough and plan hard enough, even the smallest, most unlikely events can be made true or something. And the one who believes the most in accomplishing their tasks will be victorious or something, But then again, this is probably countered later on by a certain person and their motif of rolling dice. Hidden rooms. We definitely have hidden rooms in the mansion. We know of one of them. Kraus had a door that no one else really seemed to know about, or had a key to, where he had hid one block of gold he had found with seemingly a date and mark of proving the existence of the actual gold and making the riddle seem more legit. Yeah, so the gold does exist, at least in some form. It's not necessarily gonna be all in blocks of gold, but it's gonna exist. I'm pretty certain about that. Whether it's behind hidden doors or in some other form we don't know about, but I'm pretty sure there are gonna be more hidden rooms, hidden entranceways, hidden passages, trapdoors, some kind of stuff like that that will later on help us solve other things. Faking deaths is pretty self-explanatory. This could easily just explain some of the ways people were murdered. You know, it's not... These people are rich, they are smart, they're all smart. They had time beforehand to plan all this out. They could have easily faked their own deaths and planted fake bodies. Taking secrets to grave. I think this was mostly in regards to Genji not willing to talk about Kinzo and or his plans. Yeah, I don't have much to say about here, but this could apply to people other than Genji. Like, people have more knowledge that could help solve the cases, but they chose to not give it out due to an oath or some other reason. Maybe they were threatened. I think I have threatening others here as an idea. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Then devotion. Beatrice loves those who believe and revere her. Yeah, this was made very clear. She wants people to revere her, and she will not kill those who revere her, or she will at least revive them or something. And the magic, in order for the magic to work, people need to believe in her. And because of the lack of devotion of Battler, the magic did not work at the end of episode 1. We need to fix this. We need to somehow... This is an important part. I don't know how integral it is, but it's seemingly important, because that's the reason episode 1 ended in a bad ending, so to speak. Missing Rose. Nothing to add here. At the very beginning of the game, when we first arrived to the guest house, we saw a rose. We attached a little piece of paper to it to keep it going, to hang in there. Then it was gone later. What the fuck was going on? And somehow I believe this is gonna be the big game changer. Gonna solve the whole mystery, you know? Probably not, but it's still interesting that it was missing. So it definitely has some meaning. It might have been just thematic meaning, like the rose was trying to survive, but then it went missing, you know? There's no hope here. There's no hope to find in this first episode. It could have been as simple as that. There's no need to persevere. Even the toughest rose will die out here. But it could as easily have been taken by someone, hidden. Maybe it has meaning. Maybe the rose itself, maybe all the roses are the gold. You know, alchemy. We don't know. The riddle, pretty self-explanatory. Big mystery. Don't have too much to go on about it. We've talked about it twice at least during episode 1. There is one line I never talked about though. Sweetfish River and a fishing village. This was in the first passage when talking about the key or finding a way to the Golden Land, and we had let me actually just pull it up here. Here. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was sometimes very highly valued. Yeah. So like there's something there. Kumasawa was brought up in a village like that. Very interesting. Yeah. Just close those. There we go. The Discord mark is bothering me. Whatever. We're gonna ignore it for now. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's a red herring. Haha. Fish river. Sweet fish. Red herring. But you know, I feel like Kumasawa might hold some key to the riddle. maybe she's also taking secrets to grave. She's a very suspicious individual. Initially just listening in on people, getting those rumors, and giving some afterthoughts to people's drama. Just kind of acting like a second narrator. I don't know. Then there were the letters from Beatrice, and I don't really have anything to say about them. I just want to acknowledge their existence, and that paying more attention to them will be important. And then we have culprit or culprits. Possible culprits I can see it being is Beatrice just doing all of the murders, any of the kids doing all of the murders, Natsuhi doing all of the murders, or anyone who faked their death or set up traps that worked posthumously after they had died. That is. Those are the possible culprits, and I guess we could add 19th plus person people, that's relating to here, other people. There could be hidden servants on the island. We mentioned Battler's little sister, or stepsister, I guess, Rudolph's and Kyrie's daughter, who was, I think, too sick to come here. Maria's missing father, we just don't know anything about them. And the grandmother of the Ushiromia family is a big question mark still. Any of those could be 19th person or people. Most likely it's just hidden servants. That's my current idea. Then these things here, I don't know what to think about them, but they have been explicitly mentioned multiple times. Asthma probably least, but headaches, there's something about them. There's mind control, awakening to powers, being possessed, headaches being some kind of premonition, warning them of possible spells being cast, spider senses, I don't know, could be anything, could be literally anything, but they are there for a reason. Maybe there are possible weaknesses we can take advantage of later on, or no idea. Unreliable narrator is as simple as it comes. We could be lied to. We think we can trust what is being told in front of us, but in fact, nope. And this also applies, well, even more so applies to unreliable POV narrator. When we talked mostly with we watch things go through mostly with Battler's POV. Battler could be speaking shit, could be seeing things, could be hallucinating, could be mistaken in some of his ideas. We don't necessarily see the full truth, full objective truth. And there are times when we have switched to other people as well, so, threatening others, this mostly applies to culprits and devotion, taking secrets to grave, faking deaths. The actual culprit or culprits could be threatening other people to make them be silent and not talk about how they were able to accomplish the murders, or threaten the other people to take part in helping murder other people. Simple as. This we talked about. Beatrice, my beloved. I am Ginzo. Ginzo is me. I love her. Beatrice is amazing. What is there to say about her? She's just gonna be, the centerpiece of this whole story, and there's just too much we could talk about her. So I'm just gonna say that everything ? She's a part of everything. She will be integral to everything. Yeah. Even if it's not actual, real, physical Beatrice, she's still gonna be important in others theorizing, or a supposed 19th person pretending to be Beatrice. Then we have Burncastle Frederica, and since we are talking about Higurashi, she exists in there. There are theories that she is someone else, or a version of someone else. Not sure about that. We'll assume both, that she's her own person or that other person. She has agreed to help us, so any info we will get regarding magic or how to beat Beatrice or how to get ahead in game, I'm guessing will be with the help of her. And she, in fact, has the power to travel through fragments, which, we have been playing Higurashi. We know what fragments are. I'm not gonna spoil it too much here. I'm just gonna acknowledge it. Yeah. And with the help of fragments, I feel like it's very likely that way we can, explain how we would start episode 2 or future episodes from the very beginning. Frederica takes us to a new fragment where we can start over. Lambda Delta. Do I want to talk about her at all? I have my theory of who she is. We haven't seen her obviously in this game, but I have an idea who Lambda Delta is. And oh boy, when we get first visual of her, it's gonna be very telling. And the direction of the story can go very sideways. And then finally, but definitely not least, Ewa, I think is how you pronounce her. Yeah, just like an actual god. Like, how do we deal with this? We know they exist in Higurashi. There's lots of talk about deities and gods in that game. So, like, yeah, is she gonna be a part of this game? Is she gonna have any influence over these people, these witches? I don't know. Very intrigued to see if Ewa makes an appearance. And here below is just my previous thoughts about the murders. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it on the quote unquote theories part. I don't know. I know there's not too much theorizing, like how or what direction we will take, and what's the actual truth behind things, and what's the actual solution to riddle. I just don't have enough info. I'm just giving my natural first thoughts here. That I haven't planned this video out at all. I'm just doing it on the fly. I feel like that's most fair. I believe people would like hearing if I do it this way rather than rehearsed and a scripted video. Yeah. I think that's about it. I'm very excited going forward. I'm gonna take a small break here, go eat, and then come back record some thoughts. Not an official review, but some overall thoughts about episode 1 as a whole. And I think that's gonna be this video, this part, and this is gonna go up alongside the start of episode 2. So that's gonna be hype. Gonna record that either today or tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, see you in a bit. And the final bit here. Some things I just mentioned, forgot to mention in the theories part is seagulls. I didn't mention them. I meant to. Just the existence of them. They're probably important. Multiple islands, maybe. I think there were mentioned that there are multiple islands here. Torrey Gate is missing. It's probably underwater, and the entirety of the underwater might become important later on. Just want to mention those. Okay, just quick thoughts, I guess, on episode 1. The setting, I'm a big fan of the isolated island setting. Like, I love that. I love that Ryukishi plays with the trappings of the classical locked room mysteries and the big mansion murder mystery, and has even the cliched butler and doctor characters present who are, the typical murderers. But we'll see. We'll see if he actually goes through with that. It's gonna be fun, anyways. And I've always loved, well, out of the two stories I've read from Ryukishi, I've loved the not modern but not historical setting, the one just before the modern age of technology. You know, the 1950s to 1990s, that period. Um, Characters, yeah, I mean, I talked about most of them in the tier list already, and my opinions haven't really changed, but Beatrice got a big glow up in the tea parties, so plus points for her. She obviously goes from number one spot to number one spot, huge improvement there. Then we will add Burncastle, I guess, as an intriguing character that I don't yet know how to place. Literally just second witch, you know. What else is there to say? Hype. And plus points towards Battler from the Tea Party. Doesn't change his placement, but you know, I got more attached to him. His rage and determination was really cool to see, even if I'm ultimately on Beatrice's side and hoping for a bad ending. I'm sorry, I shouldn't, probably. But like, yeah, plus points for Battler. Mystery. I love that we have a classic murder mystery. Never mind, I love that we're probably gonna have the classic murder mystery with realism set as a fake out initial setting, and then introduce magic to the game as a big fuck you, to shake things up to like, we start out with the classic, and then we're like, yeah, you know what, let's just throw that whole thing away and let's just focus on magic going forward. Fuck you for trying to even theorize previously about regular ways to kill people. Nope, not gonna have that. Though, then again, I don't know, it could actually be a thing, actually. Are we actually using magic, or is it actually real? Is it realism based? And then I'm a big fan of Battler's deduction stuff, and I hope we get more of that and more Kyrie stuff later on. I love that we have a protagonist who basically acts as the solver, murder solver. Magic? No idea. Absolutely no idea about magic. But I do hope we go full balls to the walls with it and create super intricate magic system. We already have started doing that with the mention of Hebrew magic circles, scorpions, charms, spells, demon ice peaks. You know, we have a solid foundation: black magic, devotion, miracles, whatnot, alchemy. There's a lot there, but I'm just not sure how much we're gonna focus on it going forward. Just be a, I'm fine with it just being a basic background setting or a device to allow the story to happen. But if we do go through with it, I'm gonna love it. But I'm also fine if it's not gonna be anything big. And yeah, this is the question: are we actually using magic, or is it realism? Which way is it? This was a big question in Higurashi 2. Did the murders actually happen through people, or was it supernatural? Big question. And vibe. I'm very much vibing with Ava and Beatrice. Hell yeah. Love them. Love those two. Not much else to say, Music, banger, obviously. The beeps and boops are pleasant. I'm not a big music person, but I can recognize good music every now and then, and this one definitely has some. I almost always try to point out when the track changes and comment on it a bit, because it's usually good. It's usually noticeable. And the track names are like scary sometimes. Like, what the fuck do you mean, world end? Hello? Pacing, for me, it took a while to get through things, but in universe, it was very fast, and the scenes didn't last too long. It didn't feel like there were any extraneous scenes either, and even the ones that didn't really progress the plot, they were giving us insights into characters and their relationships, The pacing was good to me. I I'm not an expert on this topic, but I think it was good. It was kind of slow, but on purpose, and it was the introductory part. So it didn't bother me, and I didn't feel bored at any moment. Like even at the places that I'm not personally too much into, even those were good and handled well. Emotion. The story can make me very emotional and even able to cry. Huge points. Huge points. I think I cried once and teared up a second time. And almost teared up a third time. And then miscellaneous stuff. Big fan of the end credits talking about things and hinting at stuff. And a big fan of how the tea parties were done. I was not expecting them to actually be big parts of the story or character development. In Higurashi, they are more just about theorizing and being comical. But nope, not here. It's actually just a continuation of the story, and we just actually reveal Beatrice there, which is wild. Of course, it's just a big fuck you. You expected Beatrice to reveal herself in the story. Nope, in the tea party. Because it's outside reality. It just makes sense. And then some, things that I'm a bit critical about, I guess. I'm not too much into high society power politics, so like all of the stuff the adults talk about, like about inheritance and how they try to one up each other. It's not jarring, but it's not the thing that I'm emotionally invested into almost ever. They made some moments good. I enjoyed how Kraus outplayed the other older siblings, and I did enjoy a lot of the Ava versus Natsuhi banter, but beyond those, I really didn't care about other stuff regarding that. Maybe they'll suck me in later, slowly but surely. And I liked Higurashi's location more after finishing both episode 1 here and the equivalent of episode 1 in Higurashi. It has a more initial memorable location. I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say. And some of the characters definitely need more exploration or growth or something for me to truly care about them. Looking at you, Shannon or George, and I guess Goda and Kumasawa. I don't know. I like Kumasawa's laughter. That's it. I like how comically villainous or petty Goda is. And Kraus, he had his moments, but not too much there. And some character tropes, like it's like whatever. George being the good boy, Shannon being the pure girl, Rudolph and Battler having the dirty jokes, like can be fun, but not. It's just there. Otherwise, cool stuff. Overall opinion is a solid 8.5. I was considering 8 or considering 9, but I think this is a fair one, and it can only go up from here. I feel like strong points being the mystery, the music, and some characters, while the weak points being the less explored characters and personal preference on some setting stuff. And immense potential to improve because Beatrice will be more involved, and I love her. And then I'm obviously very excited to see what direction the story takes going forward. Like the intrigue the story built at the end, and with tea parties going into episode 2, it's insane. Like there's so much hype, and it made me really curious to see like how are we gonna start episode 2? How much is the magic gonna be a thing? Are we gonna get those Higurashi characters coming in? How much are the witches gonna do things? Hello? Are any of my theories correct? Very intriguing stuff, and very curious about, seeing where we're gonna take things. And I know I didn't really theorize too much about the or talk too much about the actual riddle itself, but I'm just for now letting it play out. I've said my piece about it, and I don't think we have enough information at all to solve it here. Someone I know, some people said it with Higurashi, some people will say it with Umineko too. No, after episode 1, you have enough information to solve the whole mystery. But no, I just nope. I lack critical information. I feel like that's just what I'm thinking. After I'm done with the game, please feel free to prove me wrong by providing full detailed explanation how everything could have been solved with just episode 1. I doubt it can, but you never know. Maybe. You can explain probably a lot more that I didn't realize after going through the whole story with just episode 1. We'll see. Yeah, okay, well, this has been a lot of talking and doing nothing else. So, yeah, I'm gonna need a bit of a break and end this video here. And, well, I guess you guys will see start of episode 2 in just a matter of minutes. It should go up at the same time. Cool. Well, Patreon, early access up to 2 weeks. Link down in the description. Cool. See ya.
Ah.